Hey, it's October 20th. You can probably hear by my voice things aren't going so great, but I'll come back to that in just a moment. So, I was on my honeymoon for the past week or so in Hawaii and was absolutely awesome. We went to the island of Kauai, and originally we were planning on going to Maui with all the fires and stuff. We just we weren't really sure if that was going to be a good fit. We didn't know if like people there would react poorly to us going or like how all that would work. So we opted to kind of just avoid it entirely just because we weren't totally sure. And Kauai was sort of our second in line option, and I think that we were very pleased with going there. The island itself is absolutely beautiful. It kind of feels just like a rainforest, a jungle, like the whole thing. It's awesome. And then obviously the beaches and stuff like that. So it was great. Um, what where to start with that though? We got to tour the coast, which is really cool. We um like so you go around on a boat and you can we went to one edge of the island, then we went over to another island actually and did some snorkeling. So that was really cool. We what else did we do? We went zip lining. That was awesome. The zip lining was it was I don't know, it was like we had to hike partially up the mountain, so there wasn't a ton of hiking, but the short stretch of hiking we had to do was like it was pretty intense just because it was very steep. The food was incredible. I don't know, like we had great weather, like the whole thing was just awesome. Yeah, I would love to go back. I was there with my wife and kind of on Zillow looking at like, hey, like how crazy is it to get like a I don't know like a rental property or something here that we could Airbnb and go live in Hawaii for some part of the year. A lot more logistics to that. Like we have three dogs and they're all fluffy, so maybe that's not the best option. But anyway, we loved it. But on our way back, started to get sick. My wife kind of noticed it first, so she was saying like what is tickle in her throat was kind of how it started. So hey, like got something going on, but it's not hurting, just kind of tickling. And then by the time we were flying back, like we were both like I was feverish. Yeah, it was pretty rough. And we took COVID tests as soon as we got home, and we're positive for COVID. So, what year is it? It's 2023. I don't even know when the whole COVID thing started, but we managed to dodge it this entire time, which is awesome, but it finally caught up to us. So, a few days now into COVID, and I do feel like today is the first day where it's feeling a little bit better. Um, Certainly, like you can hear it in my voice, right? My nose is completely blocked. Uh, Sleeping is pretty rough, but like last night was better for sure. So it's only rough because obviously when you can't breathe very well, it's pretty tricky. But the thing that I have and my wife has it as well is like we get like these fevers that kind of come on out of nowhere. So I'm taking Advil and whatever like cold medication to kind of help with that. But when it wears off, it's like you're kind of gambling with how much time you have before this fever kicks in. And if you're asleep, right, like I wake up and like pillows soaking wet, like I am drenched in sweat. And yesterday or the day before, I caught a sort of caught this moment where my Advil or whatever was wearing off right when I went to go feed the dogs and made it to the kitchen and I'm like going to scoop kibble and I have like tremors because I'm shaking so violently from my fever and I just remember being like get the dog food into the bowl and get some Advil stat because it was rough. Like it wasn't just like my teeth were chattering, like I was shaking. Yeah, it was nuts. So far so far I think we're on the mend. It's kind of crappy. Pretty run down, but I'm hoping like starting next week, like I'm gonna be working today. I think that I'm able to manage that working remotely, but um next week I'm hoping like I feel mostly back to normal. Obviously, because it's COVID, we can't go anywhere, which means for me as someone that likes going to the gym, have all that time off from the gym for vacation, come back and can't go to the gym because I have COVID, and then I have to wait until that's over and still probably going to be like a total of 3 weeks off from the gym, which is nuts. I hate it. So that's just part of life, I guess. It's always something, right? So anyway, that's vacation status into COVID, and that's the current state of the world. So for me at least, and my wife. Um, yeah, what else? So work. Um, I am gonna be kind of going into this super super busy period at work where we have planning for the upcoming semester of work that we're doing, as well as sort of like these. They're called connects at Microsoft, so it's like it's this opportunity where, as a manager, so I'm a manager, I work with people on my team to go through the different things they've been working on. It's not it's not quite a performance review, like that's not where I'm giving them rewards or talking about that, but it's like this level setting opportunity where they write down their accomplishments, the things they struggled with, their different focus areas, and then I respond to that and we sit down and talk through it. So this type of thing is what eventually feeds into rewards conversations and stuff like that. But the primary goal of the tool, pardon me, I'm gonna try not to do that. I got my water here. So primary goal of that tool is that you are level setting expectations and getting clarity between both the manager and the employee about like how things are going, where they're performing, and opportunities for improvement. So when that overlaps with planning, it's like it's chaos. And I feel like in the springtime it's not so bad, but the few years that I've been at Microsoft this time of year, it's nuts. Um it's everything everything that you could possibly be responsible for as a manager at its peak stacked on top of each other. So planning is already a lot of work. Connects are and like this kind of if you don't call them connects where you work, any type of like employee level setting conversations, which you should be doing throughout the year, but these are like additional ones that are a little bit more formal. Those are a ton of work. I do extra on top of that where I work through the career and talent guides I have with my employees for extra clarity. So when you stack all of those together, on top of I go on call next week, on top of all of the other stuff that you have to be doing, it's completely nuts. Um, yeah. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I know it's a short period of time. It's just going to be probably the next. It's not really that short. It's like almost like a month and a half, 2 months. I apologize. I don't have a easy mute button to get rid of that, and I don't edit these because I like them being raw for the vlogs. Yeah. So it's going to be really chaotic for me at work in the next upcoming period. Um, on top of that, so moving into like content creation and stuff, I've mentioned in the past few videos that I have this really exciting project that I'm working on for delivering in mid-December. Um, Vacation, this is kind of planned. Vacation is going to put that a little bit behind. I'm still feeling good about the deadline, but COVID actually makes this really tricky. I wasn't planning for that. So I'm going to be feeling a little bit more stressed to get that done. It's probably going to mean at some point, I think I mentioned this before, but I might not be able to put out my 3 full-length videos a week. Trying to work through that to make sure that I can accommodate it. But if something has to give, it will be that I might go down. I won't not put out a video, but it might be as low as one per week for a couple of weeks just so I can get more time back. And that's because I edit my own videos. I like everything that you're seeing is me. There's no one else I work with. I don't outsource any of it. Um, I use AI tools to chop up my long form videos into shorts, and that's it. Everything else is me. So it's really time consuming, but I'll balance that. It's I don't know, when the pressure's on, I feel like I perform, so we'll see how it goes. Um, Before I jump over to meal coach stuff, just on the dev leader front, my newsletter, I'm trying out a couple of other things with the newsletter. So I'm going to be starting this weekend, actually. I'm going to be having, whenever I can, like a dedicated article that goes into the newsletter just to give it more value. They've been primarily like a summary with some other activities and things like that, but I'd like to be adding more value all the time. Um, I don't know. I think a lot of people approach this stuff like, how can I do as little as possible and try to like get money out of people? And I'm like, I don't know. I like being able to help and educate. Like it feels good if people enjoy that. Um, at some point, obviously, and I've talked about this before, like it costs me money and time to be able to do this. So finding ways that I can offer the value and like minimize my costs and break even if I can make money from it, great. But um, putting out the content and continuing to add value is something I'm striving for. So I'm gonna try to do that this week. I did also, and it'll come out in this newsletter, but I've figured out through the newsletter platform I use how to do referrals. So what I'm hoping to do is, and it might be interesting for some of you watching this, if this all works as planned, you might be someone who benefited from this, but I'm hoping that this referral program that I have for my newsletter, I can actually provide people with a couple of months free for this membership access where you can watch these videos. So maybe you are one of these people. That would be really cool. I'm gonna try that out. I hope it all works. I have it all set up, but it's kind of like with software, right? Like you can do all the testing and stuff up front. I can't go write unit tests and functional tests for this kind of thing because it's integrations with other platforms, not in my control. So I'm hoping it goes pretty smooth. Um, that's what these tools are designed for, so it should work. But if it's a little bit rough, I'll try to fix it up and make sure it gets more smooth for the future. So we have some dedicated content for the newsletters. Like I said, as much as possible, I'll try to do that going forward. It might be a little bit tough over the upcoming weeks just because it's extra work. And I've already mentioned it's going to be really nuts these upcoming weeks. The referral program, I'm going to try to. I do have a couple of affiliate links and things like that. So I've shared like bulk supplements before because outside of all the software engineering stuff, like I am really into the gym. I use bulk supplements personally for tons of my supplements. I think the only thing I don't get from them is protein powder because it's unflavored. Probably could go buy it in bulk from them and then find other ways to flavor it, but that's probably the only thing. Everything else, like I have powders for helping me sleep and stuff and relax, all from bulk supplements, so I really like them. Actually, because I haven't done all my laundry for my trip, I have my bulk supplements shirt on, so ooh. Uh, but yeah, I'm gonna in the that was a huge tangent, but in the newsletters. I'm probably gonna try to share out a little bit more for affiliates and stuff like that. It's all stuff that I use, bulk supplements and the other affiliates. Like I have some hosting companies that I use, um, but all stuff that I stand behind. I wouldn't share it with anyone if it was just stuff because that's like a breach of trust, in my opinion. Like, why would I tell you to use it if I'm not willing to use it myself? It feels kind of weird. So if it's stuff that interests you, I use it. And if you want to as well, because you trust in me and you want to trust in these products, then I get a little bit of kickback from that. So that's the whole plan there. My apologies. So, yeah, I'll be trying to include that in the newsletters as well. But yeah, otherwise, I think that's mostly it for the dev leader stuff. Which brings us to Meal Coach. We've been trying to pump out a bunch of articles. Obviously, I had to take a bit of a break while I was on vacation. I can't be writing articles, like I was prior to that while touring around in Hawaii and trying to enjoy and actually take a vacation. So Um, how's it been working? Well, we've gotten some interactions from Google. Like we're actually discoverable on Google now, which is a huge improvement because we weren't at all before, like zero impressions. So now we're getting some clicks, but it's like, if we get 10 clicks, like what's the conversion rate before someone actually signs up? It's going to be really low. So, what do we do, right? So this is a good experiment to make sure that we have some exposure, but I think the reality is we need to be engaging with people. It's really bad as I keep talking because my throat gets really tickly. I'll wrap this up pretty soon. Um, so yeah, I have the coach that I communicate with a lot at the gym I go to. He reached out to me and said like, "Hey, I'm ready to sit down and talk again about next steps." That's good. And then I had another kind of cold outreach on LinkedIn for a coach, and we'll see if she's interested in trying things out. Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap it up here. I apologize. No more coughing into the microphone. But long story short, with the meal coach stuff, I think the article generation and SEO has been helpful to be discoverable on Google, but it's not enough to actually get us to the next step. So kind of as expected, but we're gonna have to shift gears and actually get engaging with people. And it's super uncomfortable, but it needs to happen. So we'll see. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry for my COVID coughs, but it's the state of my life right now. And thanks for your support. We'll see you next time.